Hello everybody, as promised, this is your explanation of the most dangerous game questions. I'm not going to explicitly give you the answer, but I'm certainly going to lead you down the right path so you can answer these questions yourself. And I want to make it quick because the election is waiting for me to start watching it. So Zaroff thought himself to be civilized, and he equated having these fancy things and fancy foods, things that were very expensive and hard to get on the island, with him being civilized. Of course, the tension is he's not civilized because he's hunting humans and he's giving them a little quick start, and then he's basically killing them with a gun when they have a weapon, and he himself said they're not qualified. So I want you to talk about, the question says, this is a choice by the author to highlight the differences between what he is doing and how he lives. So tell me about how he lives has nothing to do with of how wealthy he is, because what he's doing is clearly wrong and not civilized. So there's no correct answer to that, but what you need is to give me an example for each about how he lives, because I'm telling you right now, he's not civilized because he hunts people. So why does he think he is just because he has these wealthy things? And then I said, this is an excellent example of good storytelling. He's saying so much without directly telling the reader. And this is sort of like the metaphor question that we were talking about earlier. He could explicitly say these things when he's written this story, but he hasn't. He's giving you examples and he's making you, the reader, figure it out. So what does this mean? What does it mean? And this isn't necessarily specific to the most dangerous game, but what does it mean when an author tells you so much about a character or how they live or what kind of person they are without actually saying it? And you know what? I might have to, if you're having trouble with that question, I'm going to help you with it when you come back to school. So what do you think? What do you think about the fact that he's doing this terrible thing and he's so shocked by the fact that Rainsford is disgusted by it? So what do you think about the fact that he thinks he's civilized, but he's a hunter? So tell me your opinion there. So I gave you the definition of metaphor in class. And if you scroll down to the little chart, I've got two metaphors from the story and what is being compared and what is the metaphor actually saying. So he lived a year in a minute. You know, I even research that to double check that that actually is a metaphor, because remember we talked about metaphors are comparing unlike things. So if you think about it, a minute and a year are very different. So he says it's when he's waiting to see if Zaroff is going to get him. He says he lived a year and a minute. So what is being compared? I just told you, the year and the minute. And what is that metaphor actually telling you? What is the purpose of it? The author could have said, oh, it took so long, he was so nervous, time stood still, all those lines that we know, but he didn't say those things. He said he lived a year and a minute. So what is that metaphor trying to tell you? So basically explain to me, what does he lived a year and a minute mean? The next one, it's so dark he thought that I could sleep without closing my eyes. The night would be my eyelids. So that one I think is a little bit easier, and I'm not going to tell you that one, and I want you to figure that one out on your own. The next question says, despite it hurting him, Zaroff congratulates Rainsford on his melee man catcher. Why? So he says, not many people know about this, and good for you for doing it, and you took one of my best dogs. So this is when he dug into the quicksand and he sharpened the sticks and he put them in the ground. So there was a hole with these stakes, and then he covered it up so they would walk over top of it and he would fall, and obviously that killed one of the dogs. So why is he doing that? And the hint that I'm going to give you for this one is they're both hunters. Zaroff knows everything there is to know about hunting, and he has read his book. So he obviously respects him as a hunter. I think I just gave away another one. Rainsford book. He's read Rainsford's book. Okay, that's it for that. Now, going back over these, I feel like those first three questions are kind of tough. I want you to take a crack at them. Maybe write it in pencil, and then when you come to class and we have a little bit of a discussion about it, maybe then you can add to your answer. But I really want you to try to answer those questions. So to recap, why did the author point out how civilized and sophisticated Zaroff thinks he is? Why did he do it? And what does it mean when an author uses a figure of speech or uses something like this to tell a story? What does it mean when an author does that? That's the tricky one I might help you with. And then what do you think about all this? What do you think about him thinking he's civilized and the fact that he hunts people? Okay, next is for Bao. So if you are in the computer lab, we've already gone over this quite a bit, so you could probably tune out right now. If you are answering these from Mr. Cameron's room because you just saw the video today, I talked about the first one, saying the dumpling was a metaphor for a mom who loves her child a little too deeply. So we talked about the fact that, you know, she knows he's not a dumpling. He's her kid, and maybe she's perhaps reflecting on what it was like raising him. So what is being compared? So the child, the dumpling, the mom, what is the metaphor? So you tell me what you think is being compared, and what is that metaphor doing? What is the point of it? What is the metaphor teaching you? And then the word bao is a word for a Chinese dumpling, which is a small roll of dough filled with meat or vegetables, according to the dictionary. That's what it is. Bao is also a name used for both boys and girls. In Chinese, it can mean treasure, jewel, precious, rare, praise and honor. In Vietnamese, the name means protection or security. So considering all that, write about why you think the film's creator chose a dumpling to represent her child. Her son really isn't a dumpling, but with everything the word bao can mean, it is a perfect choice. So write 5 to 10 points or pieces of information to talk about the relationship between Bao and his mother. You can answer these questions or just describe what you saw or felt when it came to Bao and his mother. So 5 to 10 pieces of information on why did she choose this dumpling, and think about all the words that it means. So she wants this relationship with her son so bad. We talked about he's kind of going through a bit of a jerky phase, and he rejects her and he finds his own life, and the mom can't handle that. So the child is the treasure to the mom. It's precious and rare. It's her only child. So she is the protector. She is providing security for the son. But when he grows up and doesn't need her anymore, the mom feels lost and she doesn't have a job to do anymore. So talk about, you know, the relationship between them, how it sort of came around full circle. What do you think about it, and just how you felt? So I gave you a lot of information there because I wanted you to be able to write about what you were actually thinking about the relationship between the mom and the son, the dumpling. And just put your thoughts. I've told you many, many times, this whole page, it's not about necessarily the correct answer, but it's about you thinking it through. These are hard questions. I'm not gonna lie, they're hard. I wish we were answering them in class. But I think that maybe it would do you better to sit there and think about it and sort of struggle through the questions and figure out, okay, what is this question asking? And if you can rationalize through it or explain your thinking, then that's more important than you getting the exact right answer, because some of it could be your opinion. I mean, we could disagree on, you know, why metaphors were used, or is he basically saying anything? So you might say no one's saying just because he has expensive things that he's civilized, but that's essentially what he's saying. So tell me what you think. Do your best. I would rather you write something totally ridiculous and out to lunch than leave it blank. All right, that's all I have to say about this video, the most dangerous games and the bao questions. I feel like I talked to you about this at length today, so I'm going to spare you and I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Please fill it out and please message me if you have any questions, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Bye-bye.